Hello, and welcome back. We are here to do, wait. My mug is very hot, but it is so cute. It is time for our mid-month coffee chat. So let's get into it. I'm calling these coffee chats just because I think it's cute and fun, but I actually have coffee this time. It's hot. I just poured it. And it's delicious. I've been using a hazelnut creamer and it is really, really good. But realistically, that cup is far too hot for me to hold while we talk about our goals and how far we have gotten so far this month of September. And I also want to chat a little bit about life-work balance. So we are outside, so if you hear some sounds, my chickens are out roaming around. There's bugs and birds, and we live decently close to a highway, so if you hear some trucks and whatnot. Oh, there's also cattle. So if you hear cattle, bellowing in the background, that's also what that is. I live on a farm. I live in the middle of nowhere. That's the way that it is. So hopefully, though, we can really enjoy this ambiance that is going on right now. I love fall. I know some people love summer, but I love fall. I love fall. It is my favorite time of year. Especially right now. Right now I'm in a sweater with a dress. And it's you start out in the morning needing that sweater, and then by the afternoon you don't really need it anymore, but it gets chilly at night. I just love it. I'm here for it. I'm excited about it. When you're in a season of the year that is your favorite time, I feel like it sets you up to be that much better at achieving your goals. And so for me, coming into fall, coming into my favorite time of year, I feel more excited to work towards my goals and to sit down and to just really get after it.
Life is a winding road.
A couple of things that have really been great for me so far this month are, if you tuned in last month, start subbing. And so far in the month of September, I have subbed 4 different times. They've all been half days, and I have very strategically done them as just half days because they've all been in different areas. I've done it at 2 different schools because I really wanted to just get a feel for these different areas that I could be subbing. I subbed in high school one day. I subbed in early childhood special ed, which is where I used to teach. So I knew about that, but I wanted to sub in that. I never subbed in that area. And then I actually subbed in 2 different second grade classrooms, but they were in 2 different school districts. And so that was very different. Even though they were both second grade, how those teachers run their classrooms is different, the subnotes that are left, that sort of a thing. And so it has been so much fun getting to do that. I have really loved flexing that teacher muscle, if you will, again, because it's been going on 4 years of me not being in the classroom, not having that actual teaching position where I am sitting down working with students one-on-one, where I'm getting to just be in that school feel. And so it was really enjoyable to get to do that. Another thing that has gone well is my TPT. I have uploaded a couple of products, and this week I'm actually focused on creating another type of product that I'm actually hoping that my niece can use. I'm going out of town this weekend with my family, parents, sister, niece. We're doing a little family trip. We're going to San Antonio, Texas, and I'm hoping that I can put together this little activity book. She's 2.5, that she can literally use while we are on the airplane, and that I can then potentially post on my TPT store to also sell so that others could print it out, put it all together, and have their littles use it as well. So I'm really excited to work on that this week, and it very much kind of goes with the theme that I've so far started in what little I've created so far, which has been astronauts and rocket ships. And so I'm going to just kind of stick with that space theme. You could do that year round, so it's not necessarily a seasonal thing, but it's just something that I've already created some products with, so I'm like, why not take that a step further, create a fun little thing. My niece loves stars, so it all just goes right in that realm together. So I'm really excited to work on that this week. Let's see. I started a gut health program, a nutrition program last week. Actually, I am starting week 2 this week. I'm recording this on a Monday, and I am feeling so good with it. I actually completed this program 1.5 years ago, and it was phenomenal. I didn't realize I needed it, and when I first heard about this program, I'm like, no, that's not for me. That's too restrictive and eliminates too many things. It's just not going to be for me. Until I heard some of the symptoms that could be caused by poor gut health. So, a year and a half ago, after hearing some of those things, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I was going to give it a try for 4 weeks. The program was 4 weeks. I was going to do it. And I was like, you know, we'll just see. We'll just see. I can do anything for 4 weeks. I can go right back to the things like they were before if I don't like this. But it restricts dairy, gluten, caffeine. Like, it just lowers your level of caffeine, which, haha, we're drinking coffee while we're here today, but it's fine. It restricts sugar intake, I think sodium intake, and then you don't have like corn and, you know, basically you're cutting out all the processed things. You're cutting out gluten, you're cutting out dairy, you're cutting out a lot of those things because those are the things that are most known to cause gut health issues. Okay, so a year and a half ago I did this. I did it for 4 weeks. I felt amazing at the end of those 4 weeks. So I decided to do another 4 weeks. I completed another 4 weeks. And during that second 4 weeks, I started to introduce some different things back in. Like I started to introduce dairy back in a little bit or gluten back in a little bit. And I would immediately feel different triggers of eating certain things that I was like, whoa, this is wild. Because I had gone from not feeling well, but thinking that was normal, to feeling incredible and loving the way that I was feeling, and then being like, okay, now let's get back to reality because I'm not sure I can be that restrictive as I was for those 4 weeks. I'm not sure I can be that restrictive for the rest of my life. And this program that I followed literally taught you ways to start reintroducing those things back in to figure out what actually bothered you. You know, so there was like really interesting things, and I took note of it. Like I paid attention to a lot of that. So long story short, felt really amazing when I did it a year and a half ago. Slowly but surely came off of it. Over the last year and a half, I've just gone back to like normal and gone back to what I used to think were normal things, where I was having headaches, I was not sleeping well again, I was bloated all the time, just not feeling good, low energy, not here for it. So I picked that program back up. I have completed a week of it, and this time, knowing what things bothered me more so than others, I've allowed that to kind of edit and alter the way that I'm following the program. I do highly recommend following the program to a T the first time so that you can really see what bothers you when you start to add things back in. But since I've already done this once before, I know what things really do bother me and what things really don't. And so I am following it. I'm feeling so good, and starting on week 2 as of this week, and I feel so good and just so thankful that I'm doing this again, because feeling crappy isn't normal. And I think we live in a world where we're so after these quick fixes, and that if something doesn't work quick, we're not willing to do it. But what I have learned is that taking the time to navigate and figure out your own health, your own body, your own journey really is worth it. And it makes you feel so much better when you take the time to do it. And so I started taking the time to do it, and I am so thankful that I have, because I'm already feeling so much better just 7 days in. And to me, that's worth it.
No telling where it goes. Driving.
So if you have more questions about that, that's actually what I do for my job, my full-time job working for myself, is I help others with their health and wellness. I specifically help women. And if that's something that you would want to know more about, make sure to comment below or send me an email. My email is in the description box below. I can help you in that way. And I would love to chat more if that sounds like something that would be of interest to you. But moving on, let's talk about some more goals. So personal development, I have actually stuck with the book 6 Months to 6 Figures. That book, I am still slowly but surely making my way through it. It is a really good book. It is actually a very short, small book, but there is so much packed into the small, short chapters that I have loved it. And so each day when I'm doing my warm-up ride before I do my workout, I'll read for about 5 to 10 minutes. So obviously I'm not getting very far through the book, but there are always good nuggets that I take. And I like to do that right before I do my workout, because I do some of my best thinking while I'm working out. So I knock that out, read that. And so I'm just slowly but surely making my way through that. I am still reading the fiction series, the Throne of Glass fiction series. Over the last couple of weeks, because I've been so busy with all these other things, I really haven't gotten much time to read. There for a while, I was like making time. It was a priority. I was making it a priority to get that reading time in. But over the last couple of weeks, I have not read near as much. Most of the time, and especially with this gut health program, now that I'm sleeping so much better, when I lay my head down at night, like usually I'll read for 15, 30, 45 minutes before I actually fall asleep at night. That's my way and my time to do that. But I have been like laying down, exhausted, read for maybe 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go to sleep, because I'm sleeping so much better. I'm sleeping so hard. I'm exhausted by the end of the day. And all of that I know is because I'm treating my gut well. Like I'm improving my gut health, and that's a big part of that. So the solution though, because I still want to get my 30 minutes of fiction in each day, because that is kind of my like break and my escape. So I need to find a different time to do that, essentially. So that's how that's going. Gallon of water is going so well. I'm doing outdoor walks with the dogs nearly every day. And they love it. I love it. It's a great time. Let's see. Bible time is doing really well. I've started doing that very first thing in the morning, because another thing with this gut health program, and something that I realized I'd forgotten and realized again when I started it again, is I don't eat enough a lot of times. And so while doing this gut health program, the way that I do it is I actually eat 5 small meals a day. The first one being within about 30 minutes of me waking up in the morning. So I wake up at 5 a.m. most mornings, weekday mornings, and I will be eating my breakfast, which is just like a yogurt parfait. I'll be eating that by about 5:45 in the morning. So while I'm eating that meal, I've been doing my Bible time, and I really enjoy doing it at that time. I've got that meal in, I'm getting my Bible time in very first thing, and then I can get on with my day, and it doesn't get pushed out of the way or forgotten or anything like that, like it was when I was trying to do my Bible time later on in the day. So this feels really nice because it is a priority in my life, so I need to act as such. Right here on YouTube, here we are, we're posting another video, so I feel like that's going well. I am just at this point trying to do 1 video a week. That doesn't always happen, and some of them are more like reel style, but I want to make sure, and this is an epiphany that I had finally, because I felt this pressure. When you watch other YouTube creators and content creators and all of that, they tell you, 1 video a week or 2 videos a week, or be really consistent or whatever. And what I found myself doing was I was putting pressure on myself to get videos out, but the quality of them might not have been as great because I didn't really know what to make a video about. So I was just making a video and putting it out there because I was trying to do the consistency piece. But as we all know and have learned time and time again, it's quality over quantity. So I would rather get good videos out that you actually want to see, that are actually going to help you, going to bring you goodness, like bring value to your life, rather than just make sure I'm getting videos out each week. Because if I'm bringing videos to you that are actually valuable, that you actually enjoy, that are actually going to give you something, you're more likely to come back and watch another video, versus if I'm just putting videos out weekly or bi-weekly or 2 times a week, but they're not that great and you're not getting anything from them, you're not going to come back and watch them no matter how many videos I post, right? So I'm just trying to be really realistic about that and just focus on quality over quantity. So the goal is 1 video a week, but in the event it stretches to 1 video over the course of 2 weeks, it's because I want to make sure that I'm bringing you something that you actually want to see and it's going to be worth your time for you to even push play in the first place, right? So that's kind of the focus on that, and I feel really good about that decision and that thought process and coming to that conclusion. So next thing is TPT. Already kind of talked about that, working on that. I'm subbing 1 day this week, another half day, and it will be in preschool. So I'm excited for that. And then I'm actually going out of town, and I purposefully only picked 1 thing to sub and to do this week because of the fact that I'm about to go out of town Thursday through Sunday. I have a lot to get done this first half of the week, and so that just worked best with my schedule. And that's the beauty of this subbing opportunity. I have worked so hard to get to pick my schedule, to get to pick when I work, when I don't work, when I get to go on vacation on a random Thursday through Sunday, and when I want to work a little extra in preparation to leave and go out of town, not be on somebody else's clock. So that's going really well. I added this goal this month, and it is do some fun fall activities with Scarlett, which is my niece, in our Friday group, but just also in general. So this last weekend, it was super nice out. Went to the farmer's market with my sister and my niece, and we also went to like this book sale. Didn't really find a whole lot, but the farmer's market, even though it's open like nearly year round, not quite year round, but it's open from like spring until fall, until the weather just gets, unbearable. It feels like very much like a fallish thing to do. So anyway, did that this weekend, and that was super fun. Bought some sourdough bread. I bought some pesto. We got some local honey. We got a brownie made by just like a local baker. What else did we get? Oh, and I got some kombucha. So I got out of there with a lot of really, really good stuff, a lot of delicious stuff. And so it felt awesome to do that. So working on my personal business, I just went on a retreat 2 weekends ago. That was the start of this month. And just getting back to really focusing on my team, the clients that I have to work with, who I want to build and continue to grow with, those sorts of things has been super, super good. And And I'm just loving it. And then the only other thing that I didn't touch on are just my workouts. So I told you all about the gut health program that I'm doing. Well, there's actually a workout program that goes hand in hand. The same creator that created the gut health nutrition program, she also created a workout program to go with it. So it's just a 4-day-a-week workout program, which I love. It is no impact, which means you never jump, but don't be fooled. You definitely still get your heart rate up. Today's workout alone was like a doozy. I was dripping in sweat, but I felt amazing. And it's low impact, which is, studies have shown that's a perfect type of program to go with a gut health program, because when you're focusing on improving your gut health, your body is going through a lot. So having a lower intensity workout program to go hand in hand with that is perfect. So I love doing the two of these together, and I am feeling, like I said, so good after just 1 week. And I just love that I have both of those. I have the nutrition and I have the workouts to go hand in hand perfectly together, because you need both. You can't just do one without the other. I love the combination of both, and so I'm feeling really good with that. So with that being said, actually, let's take a quick coffee drink break out of our adorable mug. Hopefully you have an adorable mug. I updated my tiered tray also this month. This might be one of my favorite tiered trays that I do next to it, like on our little coffee station. It's adorable. I love sunflowers. I love fall. I love all of the things, my cute little scarecrows, everything. So bottoms up. So good. So hopefully you took a pause, took a drink of your coffee. I also love a mug. Let's just continue this little interruption. I love a mug that has a topper. Not just because it's absolutely precious. Like, that's number one why I love it. But also when I'm sitting outside, then I don't have to worry about like flies or bugs or anything getting into it. That might be my all-time favorite mug. So last thing that I want to chat about is work-life balance. I know many of us are constantly searching for that balance, that perfect balance in life. And I know for me specifically, especially last week with me stepping into the classroom 3 different days last week, all were half days, but it really brought me back to 4 years ago when I was still teaching full-time. I love a schedule that stays consistent. I do. So when I was teaching full-time, I knew Monday through Friday from 7:20 until 4 o'clock every single day, my entire focus was on that classroom. That's all I could focus on. That's all I could spend time on. So I needed to establish a morning routine that worked really well with that, and I needed to establish an afternoon/evening routine that worked really well with that. So my days, for the most part, looked pretty much the same. I woke up, I did my little Bible time morning routine, I did my workout, I showered, I got ready for the day, I went and taught all day. I came home, I worked on my business. I worked my business for about an hour and a half each day, every single day when I would get home from school. I would make myself, there for a while I would stay late, but I would make myself leave when it was time, getting myself home at about 4:30, make myself a little snack, and I would work from about 4:30 until 6. I'd come in, I'd get dinner started, and then I would unplug with my husband, my now husband, at the time he was my boyfriend. I would unplug with him for the rest of the evening, and I'd wake up and do it all over again. Very clear schedule. That was my work-life balance. It was very clear. Since working for myself, stepping out of the classroom and being home, I haven't been near as good with having that balance because I work for myself. I'm at home the majority of the time. So it's very easy to work. It's very easy to do all the things around the house because those things need to get done. I know when the house is dirty. I know when the laundry needs to be done. I know when the dishes need to be done. And when I'm home, I'm like, well, I should probably go ahead and do that. I should probably go ahead and do that. I should probably go ahead and do that. Whereas when I was teaching in the classroom, even if I knew the dishes needed to be done or the laundry needed to be folded, I wasn't at home. And I had to work on whatever I was working on, obviously at work, because I couldn't do those things. So with that being said, I say struggled, but learned a lot over the last few years about work-life balance. And one thing that I have come to learn and know is it's ever changing. I have tried to have the same schedule every single day and basically duplicate what I had when I was working full-time outside of the home and try to put that into my day-to-day life here. But realistically, that just doesn't work. And so what I had to finally let go of was this like perfect schedule ideals because they don't exist. They just do not exist. So instead of trying to be like, okay, well, every day by 8 o'clock, I'm going to be ready to go for the day and I'm going to sit in my office all day until lunchtime. Then I'm give myself a lunch and then I'm going to come back in my office. I'm going to do this for a while, whatever. It just didn't work because some days, for example, today, I wanted to come out here and record. So I'm obviously not sitting in my office. I'm still getting my work done. I'm still getting this video recorded. It's still on my to-do list and I'm still going to be able to check it off. But just things like that. And even though you're like, okay, well, that's not that big of a deal. But there may be times where I want to go work at a coffee shop. There may be times like today, I meal prepped today. So I was focusing all on meal prepping and getting things prepped. Speaking of, I have granola in the oven that I need to go get. Oh my gosh. All is well. I was like, oh my gosh, I heard the buzzer go off a little bit ago, but I've still been chatting and I don't know how long I've still been chatting. And so I was afraid I was going to burn my granola. I have started making my own homemade granola. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I will share the recipe in the description box below, but oh my gosh, it is so good. I love it so much. I eat it in my yogurt parfaits every single morning. Delicious. But anyways, back to what we were talking about, which essentially I have finally come to the terms and let go of the ideals that my schedule is going to be perfect every single week and that I'm going to have days that look exactly the same, because guess what? Your schedule isn't going to look the same. For example, I already shared this week, I am planning on making this like activity booklet that I want to get printed, I want to get laminated, I want to get Velcroed and, made so that my niece can use it when we go out of town, when we're on the airplane, when we're just out and about. So that's something new that I haven't done in weeks prior. And that's not always going to be the thing that I'm creating. So obviously that's going to take different chunks of my time than the other weeks, where last week when I subbed 3 days, where this week I'm only subbing 1 day, So I finally had to come to terms with, it was like I was like being pulled back and forth between what I have always known, because from the time I got my first real job at 15 years old working at our local Dairy Queen, and actually I was a babysitter before that, starting at the age of 12, someone was always telling me when I needed to show up, what I was going to get paid, and when I could go home. And so with that change of vocation, essentially, I have to also change my mindset around it. And I feel like I've been stuck in this mindset, this former mindset, but trying to apply it to the life that I have now, and those just don't jive. And so that has been really, really eye-opening and almost like relieved so much pressure from me, and has been just absolutely exhilarating, because I'm like, I don't have to have every single day look the same. I love knowing that today might be full of more meal prep to set me up for success for the rest of the week, whereas tomorrow might be sitting behind my computer and getting so many things done, being creative and printing and cutting and laminating and doing all those things. And then the next day I'm going to be subbing and I'm going to be out of the home and in a classroom with other kiddos. That gets to be my week this week. And then the second half of the week, I'm going to be in Texas. And so when it comes to that work-life balance, maybe your life doesn't look like mine. Maybe you still have that schedule where you work that 8 to 5 all week long, but you get to decide, okay, what are you going to do in the morning? What's that routine in the morning going to look like? What's that afternoon routine going to look like? And figure out what that is. So my work-life balance now is just essentially knowing I need to do some life, which is why I want to make sure I'm reading my 30 minutes of fiction, which is why I want to make sure I'm unplugging every single evening with my husband, which is why I want to go do my outdoor walks with the dogs and spend that time taking in fresh air and just appreciating this life that I get to live, while also getting things done throughout the day that I need to do in order to move the needle forward towards my goals and towards the things that I'm working towards. So that's how I ensure that I'm having work-life balance in my personal life with my personal schedule. But I have to know my schedule and be more aware of what the heck it is that I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to achieve before I can develop the balance part that comes in. I think one other piece that was very, very helpful for me along this journey was knowing that balance wasn't like a scale where it had to be even. Balance was doing the things that made me feel like I was resting, relaxing, rejuvenated, so that I could then go back and work really hard. So my balance a lot of times still looks like, here's my workload, here's my rest load, but that is the balance I need. It's when it's like this that I'm struggling. But when I'm like this, I don't feel like I'm getting enough done. I don't feel as productive. I don't feel as much like I'm actually helping and doing what it is that I need to do. So I've learned that my balance is a little bit more like this. So you have to figure that out for you. You've got to figure out if your work drains you from 8 to 5 and you're trying to take on a side gig or something else and all these other things. Number one, you should enjoy that side gig. Like, you should make sure that you are loving that side gig. I took on a side gig while I was working full-time as a teacher for 3 years. I taught full-time during the day, and I had this business that I now get to do full-time, but I had this business that I would work in the mornings and the afternoons, sometimes both. And so, but I loved it. It was my breath of fresh air. After a stressful day of teaching, I loved coming home and helping my clients, and checking in with the women and seeing what wins they had in their own health and wellness journeys. That was huge for me. So if you are in the process of working towards achieving things, taking on other endeavors, doing those sorts of things like I was and like I still am, make sure there's something that you actually enjoy. If you hate your day-to-day job and you hate your side gig, like that's a lot of hate going on. So try to find the joy in the things that you're doing. Try to set those boundaries. Try to make sure that you are also putting aside time for reading fiction or getting outside or whatever your personal enjoyment piece is. Make sure you are scheduling that into your life too, because that 30 minutes of fiction could be the thing that makes you feel so much better about life overall and brings back that balance that you've been struggling to actually feel in your day-to-day life. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. I'm just kind of talking out loud. I'm an outward processor, but I hope that just kind of putting it into that perspective and kind of just reframing that mindset a little will be beneficial and just helpful and something that you can take and apply, because all of our lives look so different. So I can't give you a very specific, like you should do this percentage of this and this percentage of this and this, it doesn't work like that. If you have kids, your life is going to look different than mine. If you live in a city versus me living in the middle of nowhere on a farm, it's going to look different. If you are single versus married, it's going to look different. If you have a full-time job but also work other part-time jobs, it's going to look different than me who gets to work from home and has a very flexible schedule, right? So you've got to figure out your own life, set your own boundaries. What are your balance pieces? What are the things that you like to do that bring back that balance, that rest, that rejuvenation in your life? And how can you apply that on a consistent basis so that you are making sure that just as much as you're working, you're also including those balance pieces that bring that work-life balance and make it possible in the first place.
If I will ever figure out where the road goes, even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high.
So, hope that helps. Hope that this check-in was good. I hope that you enjoyed some coffee, whether it was iced or hot or whatever. I did, and I'm loving these mid-month check-ins, and I just hope that you are having the absolute best September. I would love to know, what is your favorite season in the comments below. I know I'm a fall girl, but I totally respect if you love any other season. I have lots of friends that are summer people, totally get it. But I would love to know yours in the comments below. If you made it this far in the video, that would also tell me that you made it here. And if you are someone who watches all the way to the end, you have my heart. I appreciate you so much. So with that being said, I hope you have the best rest of your September. We'll be checking back in soon. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and tuning in. And I appreciate your support more than you know. So cheers.
Sky is falling.